Deputy McDonald, I know you.
Thank you, Les Ceann, I keep that in mind. Last night, Taoiseach, your Minister for Housing, survived a motion of no confidence because of the cowardice of Fianna Fáil. Despite that, the issue of demanding political accountability for housing and homelessness is not going away. We need a huge change of direction and a change of policy that delivers secure, affordable housing for all our citizens. We will, in the coming weeks, Taoiseach, have a referendum on the issue of blasphemy, and I'm sure this is a very worthy issue, but I don't believe it's the most pressing one that we face. A more productive course of action would be to hold a referendum on the right to housing. That would, of course, give effect to the decision by 80% of the participants in the Constitutional Convention that such a right ought to be enshrined in the Constitution. So it's not a novel idea. In fact, over 80 countries across the world already have the right to a home enshrined in their basic law, in their Constitution. So your government could and should provide for the holding of a referendum to enshrine a citizen's right to a home, to a right to housing in the Constitution, and you should do this without delay. You could do it, for example, on the occasion of the local and European elections in the coming May, if not before that. So I want to put it to you, will you take that course of action? We heard that, and I agree with you, empathy on this issue is not the sole preserve of any party in this House or any individual. So let's have demonstrable evidence of your empathy, understanding and compassion, and let's have this referendum.
If the Deputy has a specific proposal to make on the wording of the referendum, we'd be happy to consider it, but I think we always need to be very cautious about amending our Constitution. As the Deputy rightly points out, 83 countries do have a legal right to housing, and lots of those countries have a homelessness crisis and people living in shantytowns. So just putting something into your Constitution or your law doesn't actually mean that it will have any impact on people's lives. And there's always the risk that if you put something into your Constitution, that it may be interpreted in a particular way by the courts. What if, for example, like in many of those 83 countries, it turned out to be a meaningless right? Or what if it turned out to be a basis by which somebody could sue the state, and instead of spending money building houses, we'd spend that money compensating people for not having a house? That wouldn't make sense either. So when you change your Constitution, you need to know exactly what the wording is, what it means and what the implications are. And that's why it's important that Sinn Féin on housing should have thought out policies, which they don't at the moment.